back to where you have educational system that everything is face to face. Online is now here to stay. And for those who are in education and you have seek facilities for expansion, the other challenge that you now have is that even as you come out of lockdown, you will have to invest in your infrastructure in the school. I always tell people, if you're in education, it's all about capex. How do you keep on investing in your capex? So the issue now is, this is about time now you start having very good relationship with your bankers to roll over your current obligations. And obviously, you must also now start seeking how you can get facilities for improvement in your business in order to make it much more technological savvy for sustainability. It's about time again, if you're in education, to now see how it is possible to start having some issue of mergers and acquisitions among educational establishments. Like I said, convenience is much more key now with your customers, with parents. They will send their kids to schools now that are closer to their workplace. So even though a school might be good, but it's far away, parents now are taking such decisions that, look, I must look at how I can make sure my wards are closer to me. So if you're also a school, I want to take advantage of proximity to cluster of where parents are, it needs investment. So clearly, it is a vulnerable area. It's an area that the changes are there that are going to be permanent even after COVID. Manufacturing is also a major area, especially if you are not manufacturing what I call essential areas. What has happened if you're in essential areas, government has come out with all kinds of loans to cushion you during that period. If you're in pharmaceutical, I think they have a fund that pharmaceutical companies can access for them to be able to retool and also take advantage of the opportunities that are there. But clearly, if you're manufacturing that is dependent on foreign inputs and importation, your cost has gone up significantly. You must look at the sector that you are in and start asking yourself that isn't it about time I start looking at how I can manufacture for things that are compulsory and things that are essential for people to do. So local sourcing of raw material is quite key. And obviously you start looking at how do you now make yourself much more competitive. You must edge against foreign currency. The prognosis is that you keep on, Naira will continue devaluing for the continued near future. That's what we've seen. So clearly, if your costs will keep on going up, it's about time you look at what you do. And also think about issue that discretionary spending is now high. So you must always start thinking of what incentives can I put in place in order to support discretionary spending in my particular direction. So manufacturing is an area that must be looked at, and clearly you have to be very careful as to what you're manufacturing to ensure that you are in the essential area. Construction, real estate has two sides to it. There is a deficit in housing, so clearly there will always be need for housing. So the issue now is how do you ensure that you are now you are constructing what people can buy and what is essential for people to live in. So it is very key that when you are looking at construction now, how do you source more of the materials locally? At the end of the day, if you're also one that is having an input on your manufacturing, ask yourself, look at some of the major inputs that people are bringing in for the construction and real estate industry. Can some of those things be done manufacturing? Because the market is there. The question is how do you make sure we have local manufacturing in India? Obviously, the mere fact that there is a lockdown, meaning that you have to, if you're already locked into contracts with your contractors, or you are a contractor, you must start looking at how can you renegotiate contractor your timelines and customer payment terms. I think most contracts usually have clauses that have to do with if you don't deliver construction at a particular time, you have to pay a penalty. It's about time you start looking at those areas. So please, all your legal agreements must be reviewed at this point in time. Obviously, get a very savvy lawyer so that you are not caught up with other your off-takers now coming on to you for into construction, now saying you are meant to deliver my project in 6 months, now it's 10 months. Please, I'm going to hold you responsible, or I'm going to invoke some of the clauses that have to do with penalty. Even though the issue of force majeure is there, but clearly it's much better to get a lawyer much more involved in these particular areas. And a clearly endangered area is hospitality and entertainment. Even when it was lifted, the phase two, second wave is back. and it has now been brought down now. Entertainment is clearly on hold. So if you are in that business, hospitality, hotel, clearly you are endangered.